What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. This is episode number 64, and we start today's stuff by seeing the injury details for Bound and Gavin. They both went down in our loss to Spurs, and whilst Mark's only out for 5 days, Gavin, thanks for your service this season. 24 goals and 15 assists in the Premier League, up 6 ratings to 89 overall. At just 19 years old, the captain, the leader, the teenage wonder kid, the hero is done for our final two. Yet 4-week injury for Gavin Humphreys. We won't see him again this season, and I'm devastated as well because after the loss to Spurs 2-1, we know now 3 points behind the Red Devils and now 4 behind Man City, who have gone into third place. Third and fourth are still doable, but if we're going to do it, we're probably going to need to win both our remaining games. And away at Ellen Road and then away at Old Trafford in our final two, well, those are two tricky places to go, especially when something as big at stake as the Champions League is on the line. So to be missing Gavin Humphreys for both of these games, or Ravi Matondo often does need to carry the load in this game and the final day, certainly that would be the case. So he did his best Gavin Humphreys impression. 18 minutes in, after Kem Campbell headed over, he rolls through Dan James, who we signed in the summer, club record signing, rolls through our new number 9, who's into double digits, 10 and 37. He's been great this year as part of our front three, and the speedster, former Leeds United winger, puts us in front, and I was like, okay, here we go. And in the top right, with 5 minutes to go, as you can see here, West Brom found a leveller at the Hawthorns against the Red Devils. Ben Brereton Diaz, Chile favourite and my favourite at this point, giving the Baggies the equaliser. And I was thinking, okay, alright, as things stand, we're cutting the gap on the Red Devils to 1. 3 minutes to go in the half, the woodwork rattled as Price was beaten, but the crossbar saves us. It's still 1-0 at the break, and at half time, as I checked the scores, West Bromwich Albion, rock bottom, already relegated, were holding the Red Devils to a draw. So as things stood, we were cutting the gap to 1, heading into the final day. And in the second half, just past the hour mark, after Lloyd was denied, it was still 1-0. And I thought recently my defence has been so bad. I've got to keep pushing. I've got to keep pressing. I've got to look for a second goal. Because I know at some point Leeds are probably going to score. So 14 minutes to go, still leading by 1. We send Rashesha down the right-hand side. Spots the run of Ravi. It's a brilliant through ball. And Matondo with the finish into the far corner. Makes it Leeds 0, Newport County 2. And at this point I was thinking, no Gavin, no problem. We head to Ellen Road. This is a brilliant camera angle. We lead by 2. And what a brilliant ball by Rashesha as well. I've talked about him. We signed him in episode 1. He's been a bit of a fan favourite in this Newport County side. I love him. Back from injury. Already back with an assist. 2-0 the final score. Massive, massive victory. But the gap would remain at 3. Yeah, West Brom could not hold on. The Red Devils found 2 goals in the second half. And to be fair, it didn't really change anything, whether they drew or lost, because Manchester United still would have been ahead by either 3 or a point. So the only reason it would have meant anything is if Manchester United lost. However, before I talk about the league table more, oh my goodness gracious me, guys, it's happened! It's happened! I couldn't believe it! I was ending the season. There was a game to go in the Premier League. We needed to win on the final day at Old Trafford to qualify for the Champions League. And then the Wales FA out of nowhere just slid an envelope through underneath my door, and it said, Docs, time to pick your Wales squad for the World Cup, because we're going. I was like, why didn't you tell me this at the start of the season? I didn't know this. We're going to the World Cup. Now, this is the squad I picked. But guys, here's the problem. There's an injured player in the squad. It's Joe Rodham. He's done for 4 months, so of course he can't play in the World Cup. I was like, okay, alright, fair enough, we'll take him out. Terry Taylor will come in. We'll miss Rodham, we'll miss Cooper. But we're also going to miss Gavin Humphreys. No, can you believe it? Humphreys, of course, got injured against Spurs, 4-week injury. He's got 3 weeks left before he's fully fit, but this is the frustrating thing. Our World Cup doesn't start for another 4 weeks. So by that point, Gavin's going to be fine. In the end, I decided to call up Aaron Ramsey for one last hurrah in replace of the teenage wonder kid. But you see our World Cup campaign, it begins here, the 21st of June. That's not for another 4 weeks. We got a long time before we have our World Cup campaign beginning. By that point, Gavin will be fit, but the game won't let me confirm him in the squad. because of the fact he's currently injured, even though he won't be by the time the World Cup comes around. We've got France, Australia and Hungary in our group, and I'll get to that in the next episode, but the final thing you'll see here for today's episode is our final game. We're at Old Trafford, and because of the goal difference as well, this is why West Brom either drawing or losing didn't matter. The only result that would have mattered for them would have been, would have been had they won, and then we would have leapfrogged the Red Devils heading to the final day, which meant a draw would be enough. But because of the goal difference swing, it didn't really change anything. On the final day, because we did our job at Ellen Road, if we would win at Old Trafford, that would give us that fourth and final CL spot and see us qualify for the Champions League. And I was thinking, this is too much, man. There's too many things going on. I've got the World Cup in 4 weeks. I didn't even know about it. I'm missing my star because he's injured, even though he'll be fit enough for the first game. I can't put him on the plane because he won't make it for a medical or something. I don't know. Now on the final day, I've got to win at Old Trafford to qualify for the Champions League. There's too many things going on. I can't control myself. So Red Devils away, and I knew, again, only a win would do. A draw wouldn't be enough. We needed all 3 points. And after we had the first charge, Henderson made the easy save. But 9 minutes into the game, after I surrendered possession with Rashesha, a quick little ball inside, saw Bruno Fernandes take aim and pick out the bottom corner. Gifted the Red Devils an early goal. They're 1-0 up, and they didn't even need to win this one, but they started off the game like they did. Jadon Sancho then gets in behind Tavonga down the right hand side, rolls it across, and who's there again? 25 minutes in. Well, you'll know this if you've been watching me for a while. He is my arch nemesis on FIFA career mode. There are a few players that always score against me. Heung-min Son is one of them, but Bruno Fernandes is the guy that consistently always seems to have a stormer against me. He makes it 2, bags his brace, and really in the first half an hour, I mean, we had the early chance, but the Red Devils, like I said, didn't need to win this game, but they were flexing their muscles and saying, we don't need these 3 points, but I'm just going to dominate here. And Bruno Fernandes once again said, Docs, remember me? I always put in a masterclass against you. Scores the first 2, sets up the third, Jadon Sancho makes it 3-0, and at this point, I mean, I've mentioned this before, the AI, they can go from ultimate to super ultimate at times, and this was just one of those games where everything they do is inch perfect. Just like that. I mean, the audacity to do something like that on the final day with Champions League football on the line. It's ridiculous. Fernandes with 2 goals and 2 assists, and Lautaro Martinez with a contender for goal of the season. I mean, ridiculous. Dinks the ball up in the air, first time left foot volley, bottom corner, 4-0. When the AI really want to, they will turn it on, and it's just impossible to stop them. It's 4-0, our best chance fell right before the break, and really at this point I felt, unless we got a miracle given to us, it was going to be over. Dan James went through 1-on-1 but couldn't score at one of his old stomping grounds. Great save by Henderson, kept the score at 4-0, and whilst I did everything I could to get back in the game, get me a glimmer of hope, Rashesha assists Matondo for the second time in 2 as Rabi gets a goal back here. It's 4-1. And to be fair, whilst my defence wasn't great, I was playing pretty well on the offensive end, but unfortunately it was one of those games where the finishing touch just wasn't there. Rabi then hits the post 8 minutes after the restart, and until the very final whistle I kept on attacking. We were down by 3. We needed a miracle. We needed something, a sign from God basically, to give us the goals we needed to get 4 in the second and win the game. But Henderson was making save after save. My attempts on goal were good, but they just weren't good enough. And that's a common theme I've been talking about all throughout this FIFA. And sometimes, again, when it's just not your day, it's just not your day. Late on in the game, Jesse Lingard's deflection comes straight back to him, and he drills in the rebound for the 5th. Final score at Old Trafford, Manchester United 5. Newport County 1. Just one of those games where nothing goes right. And I rarely show the stats in this series because it is a streamlined series, but when you look at the stats here, we had a higher XG, and Manchester United scored with every single shot they took in the game. It's just one of those games where I never say that FIFA is scripted because I don't believe it is. I genuinely don't. But it's one of those games where it just feels like no matter how hard you tried, you just weren't going to get the victory you needed. So there it is then. It is over. Liverpool are champions as we expected. Man City in the end climbed to 2nd. That's pretty impressive, right? Chelsea and the Red Devils finish up the top 4, and we finish in 5th. But we won half our games. We had 68 points, and we were the league's highest scorers with 80 goals as well. Now, I'm not going to try and sweep this under the rug. I definitely bottled it towards the end of the season. I just couldn't hold on, and I choked it. I'm not going to lie. We only won 3 of our last 8 games. But to be fair, to finish in 5th, to be the league's highest scorers, Rabbi winning the Golden Boot and the assist title as well. I mean, if you would have said all these things were going to happen in our debut season in the Premier League, I would have bitten your hand off had you offered it to me. To me, the end was disappointing. 3 wins in 8, that's why we dropped out of the top 4 and couldn't get back in it. But you know what? I'm taking this as a really good season. It was our first ever FA Cup quarter-final. We reached the Europa League for next season. I'm calling this a good season, man. Yes, of course, I bottled it towards the end. I'm the first to admit it. I'm gutted I choked it away right towards the end of the campaign. We did have a tough end of season, to be fair, in terms of the fixtures. But I would have said at the start of the season, Europa Conference League would have been a great achievement. To go one step further and get to the Europa League, I always downplay my expectations at the start of the season because you just never know what's going to happen. But I did predict there was a good chance we could potentially battle for a top 10 place. But to break up the top 6 in Season 1, I didn't think I'd be able to do that. But we had a great run after only 1 win in our last 6, directly after that, between then and Christmas, which really propelled us to a European place. And once we got in there, we never got out of it. So I call this a good season. Obviously, I'm gutted about the way it ended. I'm gutted on the final day I got torn apart by the Red Devils. But hey, that's the level we need to be at. It's pretty clear whilst we're getting there, we're not there just yet. Next season, absolutely. I'll be going for that top 4 place once again, no doubt about it. But I think I need to improve the defence. I mean, 5 on the final day. We shipped a hell of a lot of goals. We were one of the worst defensive records in the top 10. Yeah, I've got to improve my defence heading into the new season. And to be fair as well, the injuries didn't help us this year either. I mean, Joe Rodden and Brandon Cooper going down. Rashesha went down for a bit as well. Obviously, we lost Humphreys for the final 2 games. Not that I think it would have mattered anyway. But even so, the injuries we had this season, quite a lot of them. It's been a good season. Like, I'm just trying to defend it as much as I can. I'm trying to defend the choke at the end. But whilst the end of the season was disappointing, this season as a whole, I call it a success. 5th place in our debut season in the Premier League. Absolutely. With all the adversity, with all the injuries, yeah, I'm going to take it every day of the week. So, as I run you through the squad then for our final look at the Newport County side after 5 seasons, Gavin Humphreys is most likely going to hit 90 overall during the summer. But unfortunately, as we know, he won't be here for the World Cup. Yet we're going into it in the very next episode. I'll be playing through it in the very next episode. It's France, Australia, and Hungary in our group in World Cup 2026. And I've got to be honest, I think we can definitely get out of that group. France, the front runners, no doubt about it. But I fancy our chances of being runners up. I'm targeting at least, at the very, very least, a last 16 place. And even in the absence of Gavin Humphreys, I believe our Wales team's got good enough now to get out of that World Cup group there. I love the progression of so many of our young players. Matonda, who equalled the Premier League goal scoring record with 32, up to 86 overall this season. And by the way, Alan Bound, he's up 5 ratings to 71 overall. Oh, go on, Alan, banging him in at Ibrox. We're not giving up on him just yet. But that will end today's episode of Club and Country, guys. Big thank you for watching the episode and season 5 as a whole. And if you did enjoy the episode, then please do drop a like. Newport County heading into the Europa League for season 6, our first bit of European football in the series so far. Will begin next season with our 4.5-star Newport County side. But before we get there, in the very next episode, guys, we are returning with our first national tournament with Wales, featuring mostly Newport County players in World Cup 2026. Even without Gavin, I cannot wait. France, Australia and Hungary in Group G. Come on, Wales. I can't wait. But that was it to see you guys. Massive thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, if you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for next episode of Club and Country. It's World Cup 2026 with Wales very soon.